Hi everyone, today this is going to be a kind of a crash course on ketone esters, specifically the only one that's on the market right now, which is HVMNs Ketone Ester. HVMN stands for human, so that is the name of the company that makes this. From now on I'm going to refer to it as human, but if you want to check out this product or their company, you're going to have to go to HVMN.com. Okay, so human, HVMN, cool. So have the product, don't worry, I've already unboxed it and used it, so that's what this is about. This is going to be a full review, discussion, kind of what can you expect, price, taste, all that stuff. I'm going to get into that in a second. But yeah, just this has been used, so I'm going to do like a little post unboxing for you. And yeah, so this is my little sheet on what I want to cover today. I'm going to do my absolute best to not go off on any tangents, because it's really, really easy when we start kind of talking about the nitty-gritty stuff here to start talking about the really crazy cool stuff that is associated to the nitty-gritty that really has nothing to do with this video. So I'll do my best. I'm going to try to keep this video under 15 minutes long. But so here's what I want to talk about. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the company. Who created this product? What is the product? What are the claims made behind the product? The taste, the price of the product, any alternatives to HVMNs, humans, ketone ester, and then my experience with it, my trial, my test. If you want to see the raw data between the trial and test, which I'll talk about exactly what I did, it's all going to be in the comments below. There's going to be a couple of links in the comments below too for additional information and just kind of reference some of the other things I talk about. So I guess let's get right into this. So first and foremost, we got company number one on the list. So as I mentioned, this is by human, HVMN. And it's important to kind of talk about the origins of this product. So back in the day, DARPA, which is basically a defense agency, said we want to improve our warfighter performance. We want to find an alternate fuel source to kind of help our warfighters in extreme situations. So they took $60 million and they gave it to NIH, which is an American institution of health, and Oxford, which is an English research institute. And they said, go find this fuel source. So then you had a scientist from Oxford and a scientist from NIH. They were working together as a team, and they were doing this, and they found this ketone ester, right? So they synthesized this ketone ester, and then from that, basically a company in England was formed called T-delta-S. Okay, so T-delta-S is an English company that holds the patents and the intellectual property behind this ketone ester, the formulation, and a couple other things. Now, T-delta-S has this thing, it's called a delta G ketone ester, and so that is what is in this product. Delta G is their like trade name for this ketone ester. They then license the rights to use delta G to Human, which is a United States company, to basically commercialize it in the United States. So to kind of draw that back out again, DARPA, $60 million, improved warfighter performance. They gave that money to the NIH and to Oxford. Those scientists worked together. A new company was formed when they created this ketone ester. That company is in England called T-delta-S. They hold the patent rights to the delta G ketone ester, which then licensed the rights to an American company, Human, who basically puts in a bottle, markets it, and that's how we get it, right? So, yeah, so that's the company. So what is the product? What is a ketone monoester? So if you're listening to this video, you probably are familiar with the ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, ketosis, exogenous ketones versus endogenous ketones. So this is an exogenous ketone, meaning that it is a ketone that is coming from without. It's not being created by the body. You're basically putting it in your mouth, swallowing it, absorbing it, and it's going into your bloodstream. So you're achieving ketosis through a product instead of burning stored body fat. And so this ketone monoester is kind of like the big shot right now. It is outperforming any other type of exogenous ketone by magnitudes. So those other exogenous ketones typically are ketone salts or ketone electrolytes, because salt kind of has a bad connotation with it, and then MCT oils. So in that kind of order is kind of what you can expect from a ketotic rise in blood ketones. So basically, MCT oil, let's say you're choosing like a C8 high quality MCT oil, you can probably expect 0.5 millimolar, maybe up to 1 millimolar in elevation of blood ketones with MCT oil. The issue then is when you start hitting these high doses of MCT oil, you start running into gastrointestinal problems. Then you move into ketone salts, and there's a whole bunch of different formulation of ketone salts, but you can, again, kind of expect a quality ketone salt at the right level, you can expect probably a full millimolar. So in general, it's about twice as effective as MCT oil, but again, that kind of comes down to dosage. And then so this product is claiming to put you into 3 to 5 millimolar range of ketosis in under an hour. So that's obviously pretty huge. That's honestly above the therapeutic range of ketosis, which is typically between 1.5 and 3 millimolar. This is saying that just this product on its own, even not in a ketotic state, so even if you're not on a ketogenic diet, even if you're not intermittent fasting, you can take this with carbohydrates and still reach a 3 to 5 millimolar ketone range within an hour. That's a big claim, and it is proven by research, and it is proven by my experience with this product. This actually does work, so I'll get into that later. But so that's basically what this product is. So now let's obviously talk about, so I guess let's just pop this open and see kind of what you guys can expect. So it's a box. This comes in groups of 3. So this comes with 3 servings, and I'll talk about the price in a second. But so you're gonna open it up. It's got 3 bottles in it. I only have 1 in it right now. And it basically, has some stuff. It actually covers kind of what I was talking about as far as the company's origins. I didn't actually realize that. It talks about what is this. This is BHB again. So that's the ketone you're getting here, beta hydroxybutyrate. That is different than acetoacetate and acetone, the other 2 ketone bodies. So beta hydroxybutyrate tends to be the one that is most geared towards performance. However, some current research right now is showing that you actually need a racemic mixture of beta hydroxybutyrate or that acetoacetate combined to actually get kind of some of those anti-seizure capabilities, which is kind of a major arm of why you would use exogenous ketones from a therapeutic standpoint in disease states. So this is not racemic. So this is just the R enantiomer of beta hydroxybutyrate, or I guess in this case they're going to call it the D enantiomer. And then we can also talk about kind of what can I expect. Again, here it says 3 to 5 millimolar ketones in under an hour. That is equivalent to about 7 days of fasting. And then it gives us basically suggested case uses. So how can you actually use this product? And so they give you 4. First and foremost, you can get into ketosis with it. So 3 to 5 millimolar ketosis in under an hour. 2, you can use it for performance. They say use it within an hour of performance, and they actually recommend taking it with pre-workout carbs. And that's going to basically give you fuel flexibility. It's going to allow the body, probably more so if you are a keto-adapted person, but technically for all people, to use 2 different fuel sources, basically glucose and ketones. Ketones, obviously, if you aren't familiar, they shield carbohydrate consumption, they shield protein utilization, so it's going to allow you to perform at a higher level longer. They also say you can use it as recovery. They say take it within 30 minutes of exercise, and they want you to take it with post-workout carbs and with protein. And then flow state is kind of the fourth case use. So you can basically take it for a cognitive boost. It is a stimulant-free and sugar-free flow state boost. So those are kind of the 4. Get into ketosis, use it for performance, use it for recovery, and get into a flow state. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. So anything else kind of noticeable that yeah, so I guess we'll just start talking about this. So here we go, kind of same thing on the back of the actual product. The front, it basically just says 25 grams of pure delta G ketone ester. So like I said, delta G is kind of the trade name of that T delta S company in England. And then it gives you the case uses on the back. This is 1 serving, right? So 2.2 ounces is a single serving, okay? So let's talk about the taste. Always the fun part that a lot of people care about. So back in the day, like when this was first being developed by like NIH and Oxford, it was, I didn't have any, I've never had any of that, but from the accounts, it was shockingly terrible. Like drinking jet fuel, people would try it, gag, throw up on the ground type thing. It's definitely gotten better. It's still not great. Human was nice enough to throw in a little bit of stevia, I believe. A little bit of stevia, a little bit of natural flavoring. So when I pop the top and I smell it, it kind of smells slightly of berries. I would say similar to like a berry flavored vodka is kind of what it smells like. The taste is not good. So I will tell you that it is, if I were to liken it to one thing, again, it would be kind of like taking a shot of berry flavored vodka and holding it in your mouth. Except instead of it kind of that berry flavored vodka kind of getting you like kind of in the back of the throat, back of the tongue, this really hits you kind of in the front of the mouth. It's not very pleasant. I know a lot of people that do use this, and as far as from the performance aspects, and they want to use it with carbs, they typically just empty this into some sort of carbohydrate source, blend it up, and that helps take some of the taste away. In that case, they typically use a product called UCAN, which is a super starch. It's a slow release starch, so it's not going to really impact your insulin levels all that much. That's how I've seen it used as far as in athletes, typically ultra endurance athletes, Ironman people. So it doesn't taste good, but apparently it is better than it used to taste. Let's get into the price. So for 3 of these bad boys, the current price is $99 for 3 servings. So it's $33 a pop. Obviously, that's really freaking expensive. I don't know anyone that can afford that on a regular basis. This isn't going to be something that the weekend warrior is taking and popping before they hit the gym 3 or 4 times a week. It's not going to happen. So basically, what the company has said is that back in the day, to manufacture a single bottle of this, it was going to cost in the millions of dollars essentially. Excuse me. And that's probably because when you basically take that $60 million in grant funding from DARPA and you boil it all down to how much was actually produced and all that stuff, and they're probably still recouping that money, it was really expensive to do. So now they're basically saying it's $33 for a single serving of this. The goal of the company is to get this to $1 a serving. I don't know how long it's going to take, but they have said repeatedly that that is their goal, to eventually get the manufacturing cost down to $1 a serving, which is pretty much on par with any other performance product right now. It's about $1 a serving, whether you're taking creatine or pre-workouts or post-workouts, whey protein, whatever you're doing. That's reasonable. Right now, for $33 a pop, for $99 for a 3-pack, really the only case use here is for people that need to really get the absolute maximum out of their body for a single event. So I see this being used for people running a marathon, an Ironman, an ultra endurance marathon, something like that. Something that you're training for months and months and months. You spend $100, you buy one of these, maybe you use one 2 weeks before just to see how it works with your body, and then you use one the day of training, and if you're doing something really long like ultra endurance or a full Ironman, then maybe you use 2 during the actual race. So that's really the only way I can see justifying $99 for three of these, but that's that. So anyway, let's talk about alternatives. So right now, are there any alternatives to this product on the market? The short answer is no. This is the only ketone ester on the market, whether it be BHB, whether it be ACAC. There's nothing else on the market that is commercially available. Now there are some in the works as far as diester. This is a monoester, so there's some diesters, there's some triesters. There's some using acetoacetate instead of beta-hydroxybutyrate. There's different case uses. As far as performance, if you're interested in performance, this is probably going to be the way to go for a while. They might come out with some sort of acetoacetate diester that is going to have major implications in brain function, seizure control, etc. But again, that's not really going to be shown all that much to work that well in performance because, again, beta-hydroxybutyrate tends to be the fuel ketone. So as far as esters, as far as something getting you above 3 millimolar with a single serving, there's nothing else that is comparable to this right now. Your next best option is going to be ketone salts or ketone electrolytes, whichever one you want to call them. As far as the ones that are on the market, there's a whole bunch. You're talking Prove It, Ketogenics, Perfect Keto, there's a ton. They're all over the place, Evergreen and all this stuff. So they're all kind of the same, but a little bit different. Again, when we're talking about ketone salts, you're looking to get about a 1 millimolar boost out of it if you take it correctly and you're choosing a really good product. They're also pretty expensive. So this being $33 a serving, ketone salts range anywhere from, I'd say, $2.50 if you get them on sale to $5 a serving. Sometimes even $6 or $7 depending on which ones you're going for. The brand I personally recommend, and full disclaimer right now, I'm going to include a link below. It's going to link to the site. It's going to be an affiliate link, which means I get a commission. That being said, I'm not an influencer. I'm not in the business of going out and finding companies to get affiliate links and make a bunch of money like this. So I am a producer. I own 4 small businesses. I work with doctors and companies to improve products. When I find a product that I believe in, I then see, okay, well, is there a way for me to get this to people for cheaper, get them a discount code, maybe me make a couple dollars on the side too. But so at the end of the day, I'm only making this recommendation because I think it's the best on the market, not just to make money. So again, this is a Ketogenics link. Their product's called Ketogenics Prime. It is a ketone salt. They use the same essential ketone backbone as all of the products on the market right now that I've seen. So it's called Go BHB. It is basically manufactured by a company that is different than any of these other companies. And it is basically a patented form of BHB. It's called Go BHB, and they have different varieties of these. So they have Go BHB bound to sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium. And all these different companies are using basically different ones. Some of the companies only use the sodium variety, some of the companies use the sodium potassium variety, some of them use potassium magnesium variety. Ketogenics, which is one of the reasons why I do recommend it, it uses all four. So you get a much more balanced electrolyte profile. You're not just getting loaded up with sodium. You're getting sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium. The other very novel thing that Ketogenics is doing is they combine it with, they put it in a base of MCT, powdered MCT. And what basically the research has shown is that if you take these ketone salts, you put them in a base of MCT, it slightly delays the rise in ketones, but it prolongs it, and you get a higher raise when it does get there. So the peak is higher, the peak stays for longer, but it just takes a little bit more time to get there. But at the end of the day, I also think that Ketogenics has one of the more affordable options. So again, find the link, Ketogenics, it's Ketogenics Prime is the actual product name. And I'll give you a code down there. You'll get saved 10%. So again, that's my goal here with this link. Save you guys a little bit of money if you want to try the product. So that's really kind of the only alternative that I would recommend as far as the ketone salts go. Then you can downgrade into kind of MCT. Again, the issue with MCT, especially liquid MCT, is in order to get enough of it to start seeing significant elevations in blood ketone levels, you have to consume more than your gastrointestinal system can basically work with. You're going to start seeing a ton of GI distress if you start taking more than 2 tablespoons at a time, essentially, for most people. So then you can kind of get into powdered MCT, but again, you still have to take a whole bunch, and the cost goes right back up when you have to start taking that much powdered MCT. The cost then becomes very comparable to basically a ketone salt. So it's kind of like neither here nor there. So those are kind of the options. Basically, there is nothing else comparable right now on the market as far as an ester. There's nothing else that's going to get you close to that 3 to 5 millimolar range. The next best option is a ketone salt, which is probably going to be Ketogenics. And then below that MCT, you could start working with some powdered MCT just because your body can physically deal with more powdered MCT typically than liquid. So those are kind of your options. Let's get into my experience. So let's get into what you actually want to know about. We're like 10 minutes into this, and I've kind of been rambling. How does this work? So does this product work? So again, I put all the data below. Here's kind of what I did to see if this works. So I put together a trial, and I basically did trial 1 on Friday, and then took 2 days complete rest just to make sure my body was totally recuperated, and then I did trial 2 on the product. So I did the same exact trial twice, one without the product as a control, one with the product. So the trial was essentially, I did 2 breath-hold tests. So I just went in a pool, just sank to the bottom, held my breath for as long as possible, timed it. Did that twice, actually did it 3 times on the product, and just to see basically how elevated ketones in my blood to a 3 to 5 millimolar range would impact my, basically there's carotid bodies, and there's a bunch of sensing cells kind of in your aorta and whatnot that sense carbon dioxide and all these things, and basically stimulate your body to breathe. So I wanted to see how that impacted that. 2, I then went and did a 1 mile run. So I think it's important to note here that all my physical performance trials, I was testing something that this product isn't really known for. So I was looking at kind of the short metabolic range. I want to know if this product has applications in people that are doing like CrossFit, people like weightlifters, people that are in ball sports, like sprinting up and down a soccer field or basketball court. Most people know that the ketogenic diet and exogenous ketones definitely have a benefit for endurance and ultra endurance, but I'm looking at short metabolic. So I'm looking at anything under like essentially 5 minutes of work time, and most of them were much less than that. So I did a 1 mile run, and then I did basically a sprint test on a bike. So I basically set the bike to a very high resistance, and I pedaled as hard as I possibly could for a minute, and I saw how many repetitions I could get. And then I did a push-up test, basically as many push-ups as possible until failure. And then I did a squat test. I basically put 225 pounds on the bar. I did as many squats as possible, and then I walked back. I stripped it to 135 pounds, and I went right into that, as many as possible. So it's basically a drop set from 225 until failure, and then 135 until failure. Again, those are in pounds. And then I did both those tests. I compared the results, and those are all below. So as you can see, right off the bat, I performed better on the product. significantly better in a lot of them. One of the things that they mention in a lot of their basically advertising is a 2 to 3% performance increase, and that tends to be when we're talking about endurance. I saw much more than that. Again, you can go down and look at kind of the numbers that I generated, but I think one of the things that is important to understand is this is an N=1 study. So the only thing we can really say from this is that this product in me on these exercises on that day gave me these results. So that's important to understand. Everyone might respond a little bit differently. Again, I am keto adapted. I intermittent fast. I eat the ketogenic diet. I do all these things. So I might utilize ketones a little bit better than someone that is, not fat adapted. Again, just important to understand. 2, there's always the performance bias. There's always the possibility that I was just all amped up to try this product and perform a little bit better. Maybe, maybe not. I think probably the amount increase in all these trials was probably far exceeded that. I don't think that I could have, just been that excited and performed that well. That being said, check out the data. At the end of the day, I felt pretty good on the product. I would say there's a couple things that I noticed. One, pretty strong tingling sensation in the periphery of my body, meaning that like my legs, my forearms, my arms, kind of my cheeks, similar to beta-alanine. So I experienced that mostly on the back half of my mile run. So the last 800 meters, pretty tingly, similar to beta-alanine. Not in a bad way necessarily, but it was just something to note. 2, I experienced pretty extreme lactate buildup after the bike sprint test. So that was the second test. I'd already run a mile, did the bike sprint test, and compared to the control, I experienced way more lactate buildup. I'm not entirely sure, at least burning. So I'm not entirely sure if it was lactate because I couldn't test for lactate, but it was a severe localized burning in my quads. Could have been maybe because ketones slightly lower blood acidity and lactates lowers blood acidity, so maybe some like localized hydrogen interference in the muscle contraction. I'm not entirely sure, but point being is that did exist, and actually I take a longer rest in between the bike sprint test and the push-up test when I was on the ketone product compared to when I was not. That being said, when I was on the ketone ester, I felt much more doing the workout. I was kind of more like just bouncing around, kind of ready to go in between like the mile and the sprint test, and less so between the sprint test and the push-ups. But like even like after that, I was kind of just like, okay, I'm doing push-ups. I don't really need my legs, so I could just like go right into this, or push-ups in between like the squat. It was kind of like I forced myself to take the full 5 or 6 minute break to return, like to basically make it the same trial as the control trial without the product. But I felt like I could have done it faster. So that's something to note. What else can I talk about? So I think that's kind of it right now. And if you have any questions, please ask. I want to kind of get a discussion going about this product. What do you think about the price? What do you think about the taste? Well, how would you use it, case use? What do you think about like ketone monoesters versus like acetoacetate diester? Do you know of any other products that you would recommend that you think are probably better than this, or ketogenics, or like an MCT oil? So let's get the conversation going. Hopefully this helped you. I would say that as far as does it work or not, I would give my recommendation that for a short metabolic workout, I saw a performance benefit. That being said, there's no way in the world anyone can afford spending $33 every short metabolic workout they do to get that performance benefit. So at this moment, I can't exactly recommend it for that, but I could say that I would say that the product has very sound science behind it. From my experience, I can validate that science, and I would say that if you were going to do like kind of a one-time event, maybe you're going to the CrossFit Games, or maybe you're running a marathon, or maybe you're running an Ironman, or whatever it may be, I think it could be worth buying a bottle or 3. Buy 3. Don't ever test the product on the day. The first time you use the product, don't ever let that be on your actual performance day. So buy the 3, try 1 or 2 before, see how your body responds, and then use the actual product on the race day. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Let me know what you think in the comments. The data is below, and the links to a couple of these other things are below. Also, I wanted to mention that I tested my ketones and my blood sugar and got all that kind of blood data with Keto Mojo, which is here. It's a blood kit. Again, there's gonna be a link. It's an affiliate link. The reason why I like this Keto Mojo is that you can test your blood sugar and blood ketones with one product, which is nice. Why I recommend this over something like Precision Extra is that while the cost of the unit tends to be pretty similar, the cost of the strips, especially for the testing ketones is much less expensive. So Keto Mojo, the link's below. I don't even know if the link will auto-generate some discounts, so you will get a pretty good discount on your initial purchase. If you want to get into testing your ketones and your sugar, I really recommend it for at least a month. So I typically say buy the kit, get 50 strips, and test yourself like religiously, like 3 or 4 times a day for like 3 weeks. And really learn how your body responds to sleep and stress and different foods and whatnot. And then after that, kind of test on an as-needed basis. Because even though that these strips are less expensive than Precision Extra, they're still like $1 a strip. So it's still kind of expensive, but spend the money, learn about your body, get a little biohacking going on here, and then after that, you can kind of just back down to maybe 1 or 2 tests a week, or just whenever it kind of as needed. So again, comment below. Let me know what you think about this video, what you think about this product. If you can justify a $33 price point, data is below too. Thanks for listening. Have a good day, guys.